Hello and welcome to another movie lesson. Today we're going to be doing cinematography and special visual effects. Also, we're going to introduce the film Gone with the Wind, the greatest movie ever in terms of tickets sold, number of people have seen the movie. All right, so cinematography. This is the actual part of movie making, the most visual element of it, and so the visual image extremely important. I mean, this is an Academy Award for cinematography every year. The visual elements are the primary, most powerful means of communication. That's why we go to the movies, and that's what kind of sets them apart. So the cinematic film is the film cinematic? Does it look like a movie? So this is some special effects here on Photoshop. On the left is just a normal picture. On the right with some different coloring techniques, it looks almost like a movie. Does the cinematography keep the image alive and in motion? Does it set up clear, crisp, and oral rhythms? Does it give the illusion of depth? Is there other special properties of the medium and camera tricks and things like that to kind of create a mood, to create action, you name it? Does the cinematography create clear, powerful, and effective images? Do things jump off the screen and just kind of stick in your head? And so there's different points of view. There's the objective camera, which from the Sound of Music here, where you're just a sideline observer and you're watching it around. You're watching the film. Subjective camera it's a participant in the action. It's a direct involvement in the audience, and you kind of get that perspective of like here on the bottom. Indirect subjective is not the participant's point of view, but it's really close to the action. A lot of action films love to do that. And then the director's interpretive view. Viewers are consciously aware of the director's desire to show action in an unusual way. Maybe the camera pans over and through and it moves and all that. And really things have changed over the last few years with that. The elements of cinematic composition. The way that they set up the shot will draw attention to certain objects. The size, the closeness, the sharpness, the movement, the camera angles. Like in Citizen Kane, the camera angle is shot up to make Charles Foster Kane seem larger than life. Sometimes you get a bird's eye view to kind of make everything look small. You have close-ups, you have arrangements, framing. John Ford's The Searchers, very famous for framing shots, especially with the doorway here in John Wayne. The lighting, the color, very, very important to highlight certain things. They also have to keep the images in motion. So you have fixed frame movement where the camera moves around something that's just a still image, almost like the Ken Burns effect. You have panning and tilting, the camera moving. You have zoom lens, rack focus, deep focus, which is Citizen Kane, three-dimensional arrangement of objects, foreground framing, special lighting, and the use of reflections either with water or mirrors or all these fun camera tricks that you've probably seen over and over again. Didn't know that they really had names to them. Also other techniques you have. We have the handheld camera. We have different camera angles, wide angle, close up, all those things we said. You have the color, the fusion, soft focus. Soft focus kind of makes everything look kind of glossy, like there's Vaseline on the lens. You have special lenses that, like a bird's eye view or something like that, or not the bird's eye, the walleye vision kind of going on. And then we have fast and slow motion, and because of the Matrix, we have bullet time now and all this fun stuff. Then there's also special lighting effects, which you're probably not aware of, but when you watch enough movies, you start to pick up on a lot of these things. It's something to keep in mind. There's also, there's movie magic. There's special visual effects that go all the way back to our first film we watched, A Trip to the Moon. And then, progress all the way to the Avengers and things like that. Originally, they did matte and glass shots. They would paint the background as a matte, and they would shoot it, and it would look like it was a real background. Glass shots. I'm going to show you a little quick film on all these real quick in the old movies. Today we have blue screen and green screen. This is from Guardians of the Galaxy. This is how it looks when it's filmed, and this is what it looks like when it's done, which uses CGI. We have stop motion animation, which is kind of like The Nightmare Before Christmas. And then today the big thing is practical effects versus CGI. The Avenger movies use tons of CGI, computer-generated images. Then you get things like Mad Max, Fury Road, or even the new movie that came out, Tenet, which are all practical effects. Well, there's a little bit of CGI in Mad Max. And so the FX of animated features, so they used to hand draw every single cell. In fact, Disney did 24 frames per second for an hour and a half movie for Snow White. That's thousands and thousands of frames. to now with computer animation. It's much quicker. I wouldn't say it's easier, but it's a different technique that they use. So the computer animation has changed the animation genre tremendously. And then you have a combination of the two. If you've ever seen the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you have live action with animation on top of it. And virtually every movie now combines, some computer animation with live action as well. So here's a little video on special effects from the silent era from the early cinema. It's from a Buster Keaton movie.
For your daily.
All right, so Gone with the Wind. Not without controversy. Even when it was released, it was controversial. And to this day, this summer, it was controversial. HBO Max pulled the movie this summer because of its racist themes and the portrayal of African Americans. The movie portrays African Americans as being simple and kind of happy with being slaves or being servants. And so the movie was pulled from HBO Max and then put back on with a disclaimer talking about some of the racist elements of this film. It's based on a book of the same name by Margaret Mitchell, which was released in 1936. It's her only book. There's no sequel to this. There's no sequel to the book. Unfortunately, she was killed in a car crash after the movie came out. So they had no chance to ever kind of continue this story. It was directed by Victor Fleming in 1939, which he directed The Wizard of Oz in the same year. Kind of a big year for the guy. It stars Clark Gable, Vivian Leigh, and Hattie McDaniel. Hattie McDaniel was the first African American to be nominated for and win an Academy Award. She won for Best Supporting Actress. Sadly, to kind of give you an idea of how the times used to be, she was not allowed to attend the film's premiere in Atlanta, Georgia, because of segregation in the South. Hattie McDaniel is actually a graduate of Denver East High School, so she's a Coloradan. This is an epic film set before, during, and after the Civil War. It won 10 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director. It was the first color film to ever win Best Picture. It was also the longest running film to ever win. It's even longer than Return of the King, the Lord of the Rings finale. There was a sequel, a made-for-TV sequel called Scarlet that was not very well received, and it came out in 1994, so we're talking quite a few years, 55 years later. This movie has sold more tickets than any other film, though. It is the most popular in terms of the fans going to the movies. It was the #1 box office hit when figures are adjusted to inflation. According to Box Office Mojo, it's made $1.8 billion domestically, adjusting ticket sales to inflation. Wall Street Journal puts it at $3.6 billion. That was in 2016. Gone with the Wind on the list is ranked number 6 greatest all time. It's the 4th greatest epic film according to the AFI. This was the 4th greatest film overall in 1997. This is the 2nd greatest love story, 2nd greatest film score. Film score number 2 to Star Wars. Frankly, My Dear, I Don't Give a Damn, which was controversial at the time. The censors did not want to allow the film to be released because it had a curse word. is rated as the greatest movie quote ever. When you watch this whole movie, that line has a lot of power and a lot of weight to it. After all, tomorrow's another day is the 30th greatest quote. As God is my witness, I'll never be hungry again is number 59. Clark Gable's the seventh greatest male film legend. Vivian Lee is number 16 on the female legend list. Rotten Tomatoes give it a 94%. They Shoot Pictures, Don't They? It's 103. Victor Fleming is the 65th greatest director of all time. It is on the AMC Film Site list. It's on the Entertainment Weekly list. And it's 157 on IMDb's top 250 with an average rating of 8.2. I apologize, I don't have the British ratings on here for Sight and Sound magazine. So that's an introduction to Gone with the Wind, which has influenced Star Wars. The Empire Strikes Back, pretty similar. In fact, Clark Gable and Han Solo are pretty much the same character. Hope you enjoy the film.